You're not going to believe what Tony and Kenny did for this month's episode of Wolf Tracks.
It's Wolf Tracks, party on, excellent! Woo, 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 woo! Alright. Welcome to the June episode of Wolf Tracks. I'm your excellent host, Tony Sadler. And with me always is Kenny Kemper. Party on, Kenny.
Party on, Tony!
Alright. On this episode of Wolf Tracks, we'll dive into the hit cult classic, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Excellent.
And we're gonna learn about... Whoa! Who are all those little kids, Tony?
Those are the wee wolves, Kenny. It's like a preschool the students help with.
Okay.
And we'll head over to A&W, not for food, but for cars.
Cars? Who wants to eat a car, Tony?
No, it's for the car show, Kenny.
Oh, okay.
We're going to start things off learning about a local artist, Doug Granum. He does all sorts of excellent artwork.
All sorts? No way.
Way!
No way.
Way!
No way.
Way!
Way?
Throughout history, man has expressed himself through art. Artists of all kinds have had their own technique, their own creative ability. We see them in museums, read about them in textbooks, and hear about them in far-off places. But actually, you do not have to look any farther than Kitsap County for such an artist. Doug Granum is one of these esteemed artists and has created a vast array of artistic masterpieces. Before we examine his art, let's get to know the man behind the easel. Douglas Charles Granum was born August 16, 1939 in the coal mining town of Beulah, North Dakota. He grew up in Southworth, Washington, and is a graduate of the University of Washington. His most important education was as a, quote, student of the world. Mr. Granum travels the world extensively, deriving inspiration from diverse places such as the jungles of New Guinea or doing plein air painting in the northern Urals of Russia. Although we generally associate the idea of art with painting, there are many other types of art. This includes the fine art of sculpting. Mr. Granum has made sculptures throughout the world and has designed many public works. Now he is working on a new project, his model for the 40th Street entrance to the new university at Town Center, Tacoma.
It's 60 feet across, and the idea of it is to create a miniature in this large form.
He is also working on a giant train monument at the entrance to downtown Tacoma.
They wanted to do a big bright sculpture right at the front door of the city, and so I conceived that idea of that big locomotive because the city motto in the old days was where sail meets rail.
You can also find many of his sculptures sprawled about his studio. Mr. Granum has also created hundreds of paintings. He began painting at a very young age.
The first painting I ever recall doing when I thought of myself as a painter was when I was about 12, an abstract.
From there, a true visionary was born. His paintings also can be found throughout his studio. They say that art is a way of expressing ourselves, and if this is true, you might even say paintings are a window to our inner selves. To harness this power as Mr. Granum has is quite a feat.
Whoa! It was some excellent displays of artwork there. And the next story that is going to... Whoa! Your Minds is the Rocky Horror Picture Show by Charlotte Durrett.
Take it away, Charlotte.
The Blue Mouse Theater, dating back to the 1950s and located in the Little Proctor neighborhood of Tacoma, has been a teen hotspot for decades. Looks innocent enough, right? Well, think again. A few times every month, the Blue Mouse transforms itself into the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The Blue Mouse Theater is one out of 2 theaters in Washington State that performs the cult classic, Rocky Horror.
And this is how the message ran. Science fiction.
Since Rocky Horror, there has been an intense following of loyal fans to the movie, declaring it a cult classic. Now you may ask, what makes a cult classic a cult classic? Well, for Rocky Horror Picture Show, it is the dark humor, exciting music, and memorable catchphrases which has let it stand the test of time and continue charming its audiences with the same tradition the production started with, decade after decade. while keeping the same enthusiasm it had nearly 30 years ago. At the Blue Mouse, fans and cult followers are able to watch and participate in Rocky Horror's games and activities, while the classic movie is playing on the screen. Local actors perform on stage their own reenactment of the film, while fans yell commentary from the sides of the auditorium. The atmosphere, the movie, the actors, and commentary all are factors which leave the audience members left highly entertained. There's never a dull moment at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, of course, the Rocky Horror does not go without its rules.
So a few rules. I know, I don't like rules either, but we like this theater and we want to stay here. So, rule number 1. No sexual activity in the back of the theater.
The Rocky Horror cast always wants the show to be enjoyable and unique, and make sure everyone has a chance to interact with the production and contribute in the night's activities in some way. But one must be warned, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is not for everyone. If you are the type who fall asleep after the 5 o'clock news and are not very enthused by dark-humored sci-fi and outrageous off-the-wall dialogue and loud music, the Rocky Horror may not be for you. Performing every second and fourth week of every month at 11:30 p.m., the Rocky Horror continues to thrill its audiences. If you are sick of sitting at home on your Saturday night watching reruns of Saturday Night Live, come experience the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Blue Mouse Theater. Just remember, the show starts at 11:30.
I hope you all can come.
Wow, that was some superb acting, wouldn't you say?
Oh, superb.
Yeah, but on a sadder note in the world of acting, one of South Kitsap's teachers, Mr. Olson, will be retiring this year.
Retiring? Oh man, I wish I could retire. Babes would be all over me.
Shocked, not.
The South Kitsap High School Theater will be going through a big change at the end of this year. Carl Olson, our beloved drama teacher, is retiring.
I've been at the high school this is my 14th year, and as far as what I do here, I teach some of our acting techniques classes, and in addition to that, stagecraft, which I team teach with Mrs. Emmons. I direct one production a year, and the rest of my job involves managing the theater itself.
Mr. Olson has been working side by side with Deborah Emmons for 14 years.
We've been working together for a long, long time. We've traveled together, his wife and himself and my husband and I. The funny thing is when he got the job at the high school, because when he's working, I'm not. When I'm working, he's not. We've had less time to socialize. So that'll be the one nice thing about him retiring is maybe we'll have time to get together more often now.
Teaching is not the only way Mr. Olson makes a strong impact on the students at South. He is the co-advisor of Lifesavers, which is a club that focuses on the prevention of youth suicide.
With Mr. Olson, we accomplish a lot of things. We meet every other Monday of the month, and we talk about issues with youth suicide today, and we give presentations to the classes around school, and we go to junior high schools and give presentations on youth suicide prevention.
Lifesavers is not the only extracurricular activity Mr. Olson participates in. He also directs the spring play. This year, that play is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. All of the activities Mr. Olson participates in takes up much of his time. Still, Mr. Olson has found a couple of hours to spend in the community, acting and directing.
If I were a rich man, diddle-deedle-diddle-digga-digga-deedle-diddle-dum.
Through the community, Carl met his wife, Bobette.
We're in 5 productions together, and I think the most interesting one was in Flowers for Algernon. He was Charlie Gordon, and I was his mother, Rose Gordon, and of course I had lots of makeup on and everything. We were at Safeway, and we were shopping during the run of the show, and he says, "Hey, Mom, can you get that for me?" After I slugged him and he fell, he was okay after that, but he never called me that again.
As Mr. Olson's wife, Bobette has witnessed firsthand how this job has changed Mr. Olson's life.
He said to me once that what made it so special for him was when he had a student like their sophomore year, and to see them blossom by the time they were a senior and go out of school. And he always likes to keep tabs on the ones that do theater. after school's out. And I'd say that means as much to him as anything.
Wouldn't have to work hard. Diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum.
It's been the best ride of my life, and if I couldn't have imagined a better way to end my teaching career.
Would it spoil some vast eternal plan if I were a wealthy man?
Well, we'd like to wish you the best of luck in retirement, Mr. Olson. And this next story is about a dance gallery.
A dance gallery? Like with babes?
Shaw.
Foxy lady.
Major Motion Company has been in Fluent Movement for over 5 years. This company is located downtown, right above Sydney Village at 701 Prospect Street. Each teammate in this company has a dream of becoming a professional dancer.
Ever since I was little, I always had a dream about becoming a professional ballerina and being a part of a company. And then I realized that I could never dance with male dancers because I am just as tall as them, and on my point shoes I'd be even taller. So then I decided that I would be on Broadway and do singing and dancing just because I love the stage and I love
These firm and resistant dancers work hard and take a lot of time out of their lives in preparation of becoming as extraordinary dancers you see on Broadway, in music videos, and in ballets. The dancers practice day and night to be on stage that final and glorious evening they've been waiting for. These dancers compete at traveling conventions that are held nationwide. They wake up, usually around 6, dance all day, then compete till 12 o'clock at night.
They actually take usually classes from 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning up to around 3 o'clock at night.
The blood you shed for me, your back was ripped and bruised, so I can know your love. I kneel, I bow to you.
Yeah, it's hard. You train hours and hours and hours a week for this event that only lasts like one night, and so it's incredibly hard, and you really have to love it.
They take 13 to 15 hours of dance a week. Most of those are required. They take competition classes all day on Monday, usually from the moment they get out of school till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And then throughout the week, they're required to take 6 or 7 extra hours if they're going to be on our competition team.
Most of the teammates don't even know how many hours they train.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm here every afternoon till nighttime. I don't even keep track of how many hours I train. It's crazy. I'd say about 3 to 4 hours every day, so it's a long time.
Major Motion Company will flow for many years to come. They will soon travel the world to faraway places such as Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Cozumel, and Austria. The company will dance, compete, and live life through the magnificent art of dance. They will audition, and they will succeed. They are Major Motion Company, one of the finest companies in Western Washington.
You okay, Kenny?
Oh, yeah. I'm more than okay, Tony.
Oh, okay.
Whew. That last girl look cute for me.
Cute?
Oh, you know, excellent.
Oh, Shaw?
Yeah,
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Okay, focus. Focus.
Focus.
Focus. Focus.
Yeah.
Focus.
All right, focus.
Focus. All right. This next story is about the wee wolves.
The wee wolves? Now, what if there's a really little one? Would he be a wee wolf?
No, a wee wolf is when they have to go to the bathroom.
If you say so, Tony.
South Kitsap High School, where about 2,400 students cram the halls of this massive structure. But there's one hallway that is quite different from the others. A hall filled with art. But wait, finger paintings? Dr. Seuss? This hall is set for the SK Wee Wolves and Exploring Childhood. Every Monday through Friday, a group of about 40 kids come in for preschool class.
This is Exploring Childhood, and to these kids, it's their preschool, which is what it's supposed to be. It gives the high schoolers an opportunity to interact with the children.
The students in this Exploring Childhood also have a duty during this time.
And when they come into the room, it's observation. They watch the kids, they see what kind of behavior is going on with the different children. They pick different kids every time.
We're going to do, and we set it up the day before with the planning where we choose what activity they're going to do, what they're going to learn out of it, what skills they're going to get.
They do things like coloring, they read stories, and of course, snack time. If you decide to enroll your child in this class, call the main office at South Kitsap High School between May 1st and 31st. It's a first-come, first-served basis. So next time you find yourself lost in a hallway filled with puppy dog drawings, finger paintings, and weird faces by Dr. Seuss, just remember, it's just the wee wolves.
Wow, we sure have some nice students here at South, wouldn't you say?
Oh, very nice.
Indeed. Next, Chance Campbell is going to inform us about the complications of being an exchange student here at South.
Who spends thousands of hours learning a foreign language, then travels to a faraway land where they know nobody and lives there for a year. Exchange students do.
Exchange students come from all over. Here at SK, we have 12 from such unusual places as South Vietnam, Colombia, and even the Czech Republic. They fly over, and during their year-long stay, they learn all about our language, history, and culture.
I had a cultural shock. People do love affection in public, and kids can argue with adults, which is really rare happen in my country, Korea.
Being an exchange student, however, is not easy. They face many challenges throughout their stay.
Sometimes I miss my home, so I felt homesick. I felt really alone like that. I miss Korean food sometimes.
They also must face the difficult tasks of making friends, understanding teachers, and surviving the criticisms of their peers.
People say, like, you Asian, like that.
Why do they go through this? What advantages does this give them? First, they improve their English. They also enjoy the experiences of meeting new people and seeing new things. Then, of course, there is the good food.
I can eat as much as I want. I think I had a good time for 7 months in the US. It's really good to host the exchange student to your family, because you can learn their culture directly from your exchange student. Thanks to Wilson's and Campbell's family, I had a really nice time in the US, and I really appreciate the nature in the Washington state.
In the end, the exchange program provides many the opportunity of a lifetime to explore, to learn, and most of all, to have fun.
Thank you.
You know, Kenny, you haven't done much talking, so why don't you do this next one?
Really?
Really?
Way. Okay, up next is the Rotary House. The Rotary House is built every year by construction class here at South Kitsap. That's good, right?
Have you driven by Givens Community Center and noticed that there's a house being built behind it? Well, that's not just any house, that's the Port Orchard Rotary House, being built by the construction class from the South Kitsap High School to sell on the open market.
This year's house is it's a daylight basement house, so it has about 1,000 square feet upstairs, and then from the street level, and then the back side of the house is kind of like a two-story house, and it's another 1,000 square feet downstairs.
The school picks a spot near the school to build the house so the kids do not have to drive a far distance to get to the site. The house takes a year to build, and the building construction class have been building houses for 12 years now. The students from different classes get involved, doing as much as they can to help out.
A landscape class that participates. They'll plant grass, plant any kind of plantings around there, and bushes and things of that nature, and put pathways. They're building a little rock wall right now, and of course the drafting class, the CAD class, designs the floor plan. Photography, video production. So those are all the classes that normally participate with the program.
The house is a practical way to teach the students how to build a house and maybe get the experience to head into a career pathway.
Great gateway class to get you going in a good career, you get paid good money, and there's always going to be demand for that. You get to learn a lot of different trades, like roofing, siding, construction. You get to help electricians and plumbers. I mean, you get exposed to a lot of different job choices that you might be interested in as you get older. So
this is a self-supporting program, and they get the money from the proceeds they make on the last house they sold. The students get to build as much of the house as possible to see the different phases of the house. If they run behind schedule, they hire contractors to do certain jobs that can't be finished in time. Students are building a house to get a hands-on experience as well as to get money for the future students of South.
Man, that house is pretty wicked, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, think of the studio we could have in there.
Yeah, totally.
Oh man.
Yeah. This next story is about the A&W car show.
Yeah.
A&W car show! Excellent! Woo, 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 woo.
Chrome wheels, custom fenders, nitrous-injected 350 engines, a quarter mile in 9 seconds. Are we at a photo shoot for the Fast and the Furious? No way! We're at the weekly A&W car show, where cars like these are just eye candy for the local resident. A&W, which is located on Mile Hill between Ace Hardware and South Kitsap High School, has been serving the community for over 50 years. The owner, Rick Gehring, took over for his father Buck and started the weekly car show about 14 years ago.
Well, it was a partly idea of the A&W corporate. They have a couple stores in the Midwest that have cruises, and they had a newsletter that went out, and there was an article in there regarding somebody that met at a cruise night and they got married at a cruise night at an A&W in the Midwest, and I thought that was a pretty good idea, so we started it here.
But just what kinds of cars are featured here? What counts as a classic automobile? Cars here range from the 1920 Model Ts to brand new 2006 Mustangs. But usually you're going to find classics from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. The owners of these fine automobiles bring in names such as Chevrolet, Buick, Bel Air, and Corvette, just to name a few. The owners work tirelessly to create their idea of the perfect cruising or racing machine. Some car owners here bought their cars right off the assembly line back in the mid-1900s, while Richard Huell found his 1953 Chevrolet a couple years ago when he saw it torn up at a local farm.
I bought the truck in 1996. It was in really bad condition. It was an old farm truck, and it was rusted out in a lot of places. Well, to begin with, I took it all apart. I just assembled it all, every nut and bolt. Started with the chassis, double layered the chassis, sandblasted the chassis, painted it, replaced all the springs, all the bushings, everything, and put all new running gear in it. It's got all different running gear in it. The only thing stock about it is the springs, the seat, and the sheet metal. Everything else is out of another automobile. I got the wood at Home Depot and cut it all up myself. It's white oak, and sanded it, milled it, varnished it, and installed it all by myself.
Wow, that sure is one fine-looking truck. All of the car owners here would like to think that their car is the best and the fastest. But for some, that is just not the case. Luckily for the viewer, most of the cars here are fine-tuned and modified street machines. So, come check out all of the classic cars here at A&W every Wednesday evening, starting at around 5 o'clock. And while you're at it, grab a bite to eat at a historical local eatery. A&W.
Those were some mighty tasty cars there, Kalen. Well, that wraps things up for this episode of Wolf Tracks. Party on, Kenny.
Party on, Tony.
12 tracks, party on, excellent. Woo, 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 woo.